Stop. Before you scroll past this, I need you to hear something that the ancient rabbis understood thousands of years ago, something that was passed down through Kabbalistic circles in whispered rooms, something that most people walking this earth today have never been told. And here is what they knew. Your body is not just a body, it is a map. It is a divine blueprint. And if you were born with certain signs, certain responses, certain patterns, certain ways your physical self moves through the world, then according to the deepest wisdom of the Kabbalah, you were not born to struggle. You were born to be wealthy, not just rich in money, but wealthy in the fullest, most sacred meaning of that word. And I want to be very clear with you from the very beginning of this conversation. The kind of money that is coming to you in this lifetime, the kind of wealth, the kind of resources, the kind of stability, it is absolutely extraordinary. You are going to look at your life one day and you are going to think to yourself, what do I do with all of this? You will have invested, you will have built, you will have given, you will have traveled, you will have bought the things you always dreamed of, and you will still have more. That is how real this is. That is how encoded this destiny is inside of you, if your body carries the signs I'm about to share with you today. But here is the most important thing the Kabbalah teaches about wealth, and this is where it separates itself completely from every modern conversation about money. The Zohar, the great mystical text of Jewish tradition, teaches that true osher, true wealth, is not merely the accumulation of gold. It is the state of shlemut, wholeness. It is money that arrives with shalom, with peace. Money that brings health, joy, deep rest, and the ability to look at the people you love and feel nothing pulling at your chest. No fear, no dread, just peace. And peace, my friend, is something that no amount of money alone can manufacture. But when your soul is aligned with its divine blueprint, when your body carries the signs of the wealth frequency, peace comes with the money, always. Now I want to pause right here and tell you something that might change the entire way you watch this video. Everything I'm going to share today, these 3 body signs, these Kabbalistic wealth codes, they are drawn from a 2,000-year-old tradition of understanding the human soul, the divine design of the body, and the frequency of parnasa, of livelihood and abundance. If you want to go deeper into this system, into all 15 of the wealth codes that the Jewish people have used quietly for generations, I have put together something just for you. It is called 15 Jewish Wealth Codes, Enrichment Strategies of the Jewish People, and the link is right there in the first pinned comment below this video. I want you to open it, bookmark it, because what I'm about to share is just the beginning, and the full picture is waiting for you there. Now, let's begin. The first sign that your body was born to be wealthy, and this is something that ancient Jewish mystics observed over centuries of studying the neshama, the soul, and its manifestation in the physical world, is that you feel things before they happen. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that other people always understand, but in a deep, quiet, cellular way. You walk into a room and you feel the energy shift. You meet someone and your body tells you something before a single word is spoken. You get a sensation in your chest, a kind of knowing, about a decision, about a direction, about whether something is right or wrong for you. And most of the time, that knowing is correct. The Kabbalah calls this da'at. It is one of the 10 sephirot, the divine emanations that structure all of reality. And it represents not just knowledge, but the intimate, embodied experience of knowing. Da'at is not intellectual, it is felt. It lives in the nervous system. And according to the great Kabbalistic masters, particularly in the teachings rooted in the school of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Chassidic mysticism, people who carry a strong da'at frequency in their bodies are naturally attuned to what the Zohar calls the sod haparnasa, the secret of livelihood. They can feel where money is alive. They can sense where an opportunity is real versus where it is hollow. They do not need a spreadsheet to tell them what their gut already knows. Think about that for a moment. Think about the most financially successful people you have ever heard of or encountered. There is almost always a story about intuition, about a moment where logic said one thing and something deeper said another, and they followed the deeper thing. And it changed everything. This is not magic. This is da'at. This is a body that was built with the capacity to receive divine guidance about resources, about timing, about where the flow of abundance is moving. And if this resonates with you, if you have always felt things before they fully materialize in the world, this is not a curse, this is not anxiety, this is a sign. This is one of the most powerful indicators in the Kabbalistic understanding of the soul that you are designed for extraordinary wealth. And here is what I need you to understand about why most people with Da'at never fully activate it. They learn to distrust it. They live in a world that rewards analytical thinking above embodied knowing, and so they override the signal. They feel something is right, and then they talk themselves out of it. They sense an opportunity, and then they wait for someone else to validate it, and by the time validation arrives, the window has closed. The Talmud teaches, Lo habaishan lomed, the embarrassed person does not learn. But I would add, and the one who has been shamed out of their own inner knowing does not prosper, because prosperity requires trust. It requires the willingness to act on what your body already knows. So right now, I want you to do something. Type in the comments, my inner knowing is a gift. I trust the wisdom in my body. Because that act of claiming it, that conscious declaration, is itself a Kabbalistic activation. Words in the mystical Jewish tradition are not just sounds. The Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, teaches that the entire world was created through sacred speech. When you declare something with intention, you are participating in the same creative force that brought existence into being. So say it, type it, claim it. My inner knowing is a gift. I trust the wisdom in my body. Now let's talk about the second sign. The second sign that your body was born to be wealthy is that you have always felt a pull towards something larger than your current reality. Not a vague daydream, something specific, something that lives in your chest like a fire that will not go out, no matter how many times life has tried to douse it. You have imagined a version of your life that is so far beyond where you are right now that sometimes it frightens you. Sometimes you have looked at that image of yourself, that wealthy, peaceful, fully alive version of yourself, and you have felt simultaneously lit up and devastated because the gap between that vision and this moment has felt unbearable. I need you to understand something deeply important right now. In the mystical tradition of the Kabbalah, particularly in the teachings of Rav Isaac Luria, the great Kabbalist of Safed known as the Ari Hakadosh, the Holy Lion, there is a concept called reshimu. It is the divine impression. It is the trace of light that remains inside the soul even after the contraction that created the world. And every human being carries within them a reshimu, a faint but indestructible memory of the abundance, the completeness, the wholeness that is the soul's true home. That longing you feel, that inexplicable pull toward a bigger life, that is your reshimu speaking. That is the trace of your divine origin, reminding you of what you were made for. The bodies that carry a strong reshimu, and you can feel it. It is that persistent ache for more, not out of greed, but out of genuine recognition that you have not yet lived the life your soul agreed to live. Those bodies are bodies that are built for wealth, because wealth in the Kabbalistic sense is not an accident. It is not a lottery. It is not reserved for people who were born into the right families or who got lucky at the right moment. The Talmud in Tractate Nida states, Ein Adam noga bechavero ad sheniktsev lo milma'ala. No person touches what belongs to another, because everything is already designated from above. Your wealth is designated. It has your name on it. And the reshimu, that longing you carry in your body, is the signal that your designated abundance is real, that it exists, that it is waiting for you to align with it. And here is the part that will shift something in you if you really let it land. The reason the longing sometimes turns into despair, the reason you go from feeling that fire to feeling crushed, is not because the vision is false, it is because of what Kabbalah calls the klipot, the husks, the layers of energetic obstruction that accumulate around the soul and block the light from fully manifesting. The klipot are fed by doubt, by self-betrayal, by the repeated choice to listen to the voice that says, "This is not for me. It will not happen for me. I am not the kind of person this happens to." Every time you choose that voice, you strengthen the husk. And every time you choose the fire, Every time you honor the Reshimu and say, yes, this is for me, I was made for this, you weaken the husk and let more light through. That vision of your wealthy, peaceful, abundant self, it is not a fantasy. It is a memory of the future. The Arizal taught that the soul can perceive what is designated for it across time. That image in your mind, that life you keep imagining, is your soul showing you where it is going. Trust it, honor it, and do not let anyone, including the frightened voice inside of you, convince you that it is not real. Now I want to share something with you before we move into the third sign, because this is the moment in this video where I need to make sure you have the full map in your hands. What we are exploring today, these body signs, these Kabbalistic codes of wealth, they are part of a much larger, deeper system. A system that the Jewish people have been living quietly for thousands of years. A system that is why, in every era, in every culture, in the face of extraordinary obstacles, the spirit of wealth and ingenuity has continued to flow through this tradition. And I have distilled the core of that system, 15 specific wealth codes, into something you can read, study, and implement in your own life. It is called 15 Jewish Wealth Codes, Enrichment Strategies of the Jewish People, and it is linked in the first pinned comment below. If you are serious, if this video is landing for you the way I believe it is, please go claim that resource right now. It is the companion to everything we are building together in this conversation. Now the third sign that your body was born to be wealthy, is perhaps the most subtle and the most powerful. It is this: when you give, something inside of you feels like it is receiving, not as a trick of psychology, not as a conditioned response, but as a genuine physical sensation of expansion. When you help someone, when you contribute, when you share what you have, even before your own cup is overflowing, something in your body relaxes, something opens. And you know on a level you cannot fully explain that this act of giving was not a subtraction. It was an addition. This is the sign of a soul that understands tzedakah. And I want to be very precise about this word, because most people translate tzedakah as charity, and that translation loses almost everything that makes it powerful. Tzedakah comes from the root tzedek, righteousness, justice. It is not charity in the sense of the wealthy giving scraps to the poor out of pity. Tzedakah is the recognition that the resources flowing through your hands are not entirely yours. They are entrusted to you. And when you release a portion of that trust, when you fulfill your divine function as a channel rather than a container, the flow does not decrease. It increases, because a channel that moves water stays clear. A container that hoards water goes stagnant. The Talmud in Tractate Ta'anit preserves a teaching so radical that the rabbis themselves felt the need to note its exceptional nature. Aser bishvil shetitasha, give a tenth in order to become wealthy. The word for giving a tenth, aser, and the word for becoming wealthy, titasha, are almost identical in Hebrew. This is not a coincidence. In the Hebrew language, where every letter is sacred and every word is a code, the near identity of these two words is a divine instruction. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are the same motion expressed in two directions. And the body that feels this, the body that knows it in its bones, that experiences giving as a form of receiving before the logic of the world catches up, that body is already operating on the wealth frequency. Think about this in your own life. Think about the moments where you gave something, a time, money, energy, attention, and walked away feeling more full than when you arrived. That is not delusion. That is the soul telling you the truth about how the universe actually works. The Kabbalistic texts speak of Or Yashar and Or Choza, the direct light that flows from the divine source downward, and the reflected light that returns upward. The most complete spiritual circuits, the ones that generate the most light, the most abundance, the most blessing, are the ones where the reflected light rises back toward the source. When you give, you are creating reflected light. You are completing a circuit, and completed circuits generate power. Now here is where I need to speak to you very directly, because I know that some of you watching this right now are in a place of genuine financial pressure. You are not giving from overflow. You are trying to figure out how to cover what you owe. And the voice of scarcity is telling you that the idea of giving when you have so little is absurd. I understand that voice. But I want to invite you to consider that this is precisely the klipa, the husk, of scarcity consciousness speaking, because the rabbis did not teach tzedakah as a practice for the already wealthy. They taught it as a practice that produces wealth. Even a small act of intentional giving, even a tiny deliberate release of resources back into the flow, sends a signal to every level of your being that you are not a container of scarcity. You are a channel of abundance. And channels attract flow. And I want you to sit with this for a moment, because this is where something shifts. The wealth that is coming to you in this lifetime, the kind I described at the very beginning of this video, it will not all stay with you. Some of it will move through you. Some of it will go to causes you care about, to people who need what you have to offer, to places in the world that your specific resources are designed to reach. And that is not a loss. That is the fullness of the wealth experience. That is what it means to live a life of real osher. Not money that sits frozen in a vault, but money that is alive, money that moves, money that blesses and is blessed in return. You will spend, you will invest, you will build something that outlasts a single lifetime. You will set up an empire, not because the Kabbalistic ideal is a solitary accumulation of power, but because the emperor energy, as the ancient archetypes understand it, is about the ability to make sovereign choices for your highest good and the good of those around you. You will have a partner beside you who supports what you are building, who does not diminish your vision, who does not resent your success. You will be surrounded by people who grow wealthier as you grow wealthier, because your presence is a catalyst, not a threat. That is the emperor frequency. That is the life designated for a soul that carries these three signs. Now, I want to address something that I know lives in the back of the mind of every person who has felt drawn to this kind of content, who resonates with this kind of message, but who has not yet seen the full manifestation of what I'm describing. I know that there are moments, perhaps frequent ones, where you look at your current reality and you feel the gap between what is and what you know should be. And in those moments, the mind starts to argue. It says, if this were really true, it would have happened already. If I were really born for wealth, where is it? I've been waiting, I've been hoping, I've been working. Why is it taking so long? And here is the answer that the Kabbalah gives, and it is not a spiritual platitude, it is a genuine metaphysical explanation rooted in the teaching of the tikkun, the soul's correction. The timing of abundance is not arbitrary. It is not punishment, it is alignment. The Zohar teaches that a soul draws its parnassah from the same divine source as its purpose. This means that the wealth arrives not simply when you have accumulated enough strategies or when the market conditions align, but when you have become the vessel that can hold it. When you have done enough of your inner work, your tikkun, that the light of abundance will not overwhelm the container, but will instead find a home in it. The wealth does not come before you are ready for it. It comes at the exact moment when you stop fighting where you are, and you make peace with the present, while keeping your eyes fully open to the future. It is almost like, and I have seen this pattern described by so many people who have walked through extraordinary financial transformation, it is almost like the breakthrough comes at the moment you stop chasing and start trusting. You settle into your work. You honor the signs in your body. You practice the tzedakah. You clear the klipo through prayer, through intention, through the sacred daily acts of your life. And then, sometimes very suddenly, sometimes like a door that swings open after years of leaning against it, the flow begins. And once it begins, it does not stop. It moves rapidly, it moves consistently, because the vessel is ready. So I want to speak to that part of you right now. The part that has been carrying the vision for so long that you have started to wonder if you should just put it down. You should not put it down. You cannot put it down. That fire in your chest is not a daydream. It is a divine instruction. It is the Reshimu calling you forward. And the fact that you are still here, still watching, still seeking, still willing to engage with 2,000 years of wisdom about how wealth actually works, that is itself a sign. That is the da'at in your body, finding its way toward the light. Pause this video right now, seriously, pause it, and I want you to say out loud, or if you cannot say it aloud, say it in your heart with full intention. Say, I am a vessel for wealth. I was designed to receive and to give abundantly. My body carries the signs. My destiny is sealed. I claim this now. Go ahead. Do that now. And then come back. Because there is one more thing I need to share with you before we close this out. And this is the part that most videos about wealth and manifestation never tell you, because it requires a certain kind of courage to hear. There are things in your life right now, in patterns, relationships, environments, habits, that are functioning as what the Kabbalists call sitre tuma, hidden blockages. These are not always dramatic. They are often subtle. They are the spending patterns that undermine the investing. They are the relationships that drain your energy and leave you with nothing to give your work. They are the thoughts that you return to at 3 in the morning that rehearse the story of your limitations. They are the environments, physical, digital, relational, that broadcast the frequency of scarcity, that surround you with evidence that wealth is something that happens to other people. And here is the hardest part of this truth. Some of these blockages have become comfortable. You know them. You have organized your identity around them. The story of why wealth has not arrived yet has, over time, become a kind of home, a place where you at least know the rules. And the terrifying thing about real abundance, the kind that the Kabbalah describes, the osher that comes with peace and health and full aliveness, is that it requires you to leave that familiar story behind completely, not to refine it, not to improve the scarcity narrative, to leave it. To walk out of it the way Avraham left Ur-Kasdim, without knowing exactly what was on the other side, but knowing with every cell of his being that the voice calling him forward was more trustworthy than the comfort of what he was leaving. That is the walk you are being called to make. And based on the fact that you are here, based on the fact that these 3 signs resonate in your body the way I believe they do, based on the fact that your soul drew you to this exact video at this exact moment, I believe you are ready to make it. Do not let the klipo convince you otherwise. Do not let doubt steal what is already yours. The wealthy life I described at the beginning of this video, the peace, the health, the travel, the joy, the empire, the partner who supports your vision, the community of people around you who all rise together, that life is not a fantasy I invented to make you feel good for 25 minutes. That life is a description of what becomes available to a soul that activates its wealth codes, that honors the signs in its body, that does the inner and outer work with full seriousness and full trust. And I want to make sure, I genuinely want to make sure, that you walk away from this video with more than inspiration. I want you to walk away with a map. That is why I put together 15 Jewish wealth codes, enrichment strategies of the Jewish people. Everything we explored today, the da'at, the reshimu, the tzedakah frequency, the tikkun of the vessel, these are 3 of the 15 codes. The full system is in that resource, and it is waiting for you right now in the first pinned comment below this video. Claim it, study it, apply it, because ancient wisdom only transforms lives when it is actually used, not when it is admired from a distance. Now, before I let you go, I want to do one final thing together. I want you to type in the comments right now. And please do this because your words are not passive, they are creative. I want you to type, I am wealthy in every form. Money, peace, health, and purpose. I claim my Jewish wealth codes. Type that. And if you are watching this and someone in your life has been struggling, someone who you know is carrying the signs I described today, someone whose fire has been dimming because the gap between their vision and their reality has felt too wide, share this video with them, because when you bless someone else's wealth journey, you activate your own. This is not spiritual marketing language. This is the Kabbalistic law of tzedakah in action. What you give returns to you, always. Like this video. Subscribe if you want to be inside this community of people who are taking the ancient wisdom seriously and applying it with full intention. And keep your eyes on this channel, because what I am going to share next, the specific Kabbalistic ritual that the most prosperous Jewish families have used for generations to seal the wealth frequency in their homes and protect it from every form of energetic reversal. It is going to change the way you understand the relationship between your physical space and your financial destiny. Your wealth is real. Your signs are real. Your destiny is sealed. I will see you in the next one.